Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob has a podcast, and now here's the guy who loses his voice but never his vote, Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to RHAP. Today, we are recapping a wild night of Survivor as we saw all hell break loose at Tribal Council. And here to talk about all that and everything else in the Survivor world, of course, we fell in love with her many years before Survivor 47 when you all got, well, probably not the people that listen to this podcast, but many got to meet her in Survivor 47. Please welcome back the great Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
Hello, Rob. How are you? I'm doing fine. I'm very excited to talk about Survivor. That's not something we do often.
Yeah, this is fun, and we'll get into it. And so we'll get to hear everything you're thinking. And this was kind of a wild day here for me on Thursday because I went to bed Thursday night and then I did the know-it-alls with Steven and we tried to get into everything. And then I woke up on Thursday morning and I got a million messages like, hey, when are you going to post the podcast? I was like, what do you mean? We didn't post the podcast? And we had some tech issues. And so all morning long, I was trying to resolve that. Not the most fun way to get things started on a busy Survivor Thursday, but it's all settled now. So if anybody missed our Survivor know-it-alls from Wednesday night, we tried to break it all down and still so many questions to be asked about that. I also spoke with Justin this morning. And
look,
tough
I'm
spot
happy.
for Justin.
I mean, I'm happy to hand him my third boot crown.
Yeah.
Justin, take it gladly. I know it's not a great spot. I know what it's like walking into Ponderosa to two people.
Yeah.
It's a different experience.
Well, Aysha, Bryce makes a big deal about, okay, the third boot club, and he posted a picture with you and him. Is that a thing? Like, do you reach out to Justin after that?
Look, do we have a group chat? No.
Yeah.
But do we recognize that there are some pretty cool people that were third boots? Yeah. You got Sabaya.
Oh. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
You got Helen.
Okay.
You got Bryce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So maybe it's going to be a thing.
Maybe,
Do you think you get free pizza at Luigi's?
Oh, we have to. You know, I know what it's like. I know what this day is like, this Thursday. Like, I remember after all those interviews, like having to sleep like for 2 hours just from being exhausted and reliving the experience, honestly. And so I haven't yet reached out to Justin. I will, because, we're welcoming him into this exclusive club that not a lot of people hear about, clearly. So, I mean, and it's debatable, whether you're a part of that or not.
Yeah, I don't think it's debatable. I haven't heard that.
Oh, okay. Sometimes not. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me ask you about this tribal council that we saw last night. And let me first get your reactions to watching this all play out. From when you're watching the episode, what's your thought?
Okay, so this was wild because I did think, okay, worst comes to worst, they'll go after Justin. We've been presented this like narrative that Cedric has Say's back. It's like, in order of like priority, it seems like Cedric is prioritizing Say's relationship over Justin. Yeah, they're close, but you can't have two number ones. You got to pick at some point. It's a 4-person tribe. And so I was thinking like, okay, if it's not Mary, it's going to be Justin easily. But what just threw me was obviously we see the vote multiple times, but the fact that Cedric was able to go in that booth and write down Say's name, not once, but twice. The guts it takes to just write it down once. Like, you just write, okay, whoo, I did it. I voted this person. Like, I got to live with that, right? Okay. Oh, right. She doesn't go home. But, let me go back up there and write it again. So at this point, I don't care because I've already written it down. And then to not vote her out when it's face to face just blew my mind.
Yeah. I think that we talked a lot last night about Justin and his decision, but this was a pretty wild decision from Cedric. And, in the episode, it's presented as like, okay, Cedric, did you know he lied to you? And we really spent a lot of time talking about like what Justin did. But for Cedric, who wrote down Say's name twice, and we know she was even mad that the guys were thinking about voting for her at the last tribal council, and then they changed their mind. Cedric actually did go to the tribal council and write her name down on the tiebreaker twice. And now, potentially, and he doesn't know the swap is coming, but if they go to the same tribe, like I could see Say getting rid of Cedric.
Exactly. Why not? Nothing is going to stop him from writing down her name a third time. He clearly knows how to spell it properly. Like if he has no idea who to vote for, he can easily vote for Say. I'm like, he knows she is not dumb. He knows that she holds grudge. Like, even though she has said, "Oh, I don't hold grudges," he works with her closely. He knows that she holds grudges. Mm-hmm. And so I don't understand why in that moment he doesn't think, "Oh, there's zero chance that Say doesn't hold this against me in the future." Yeah. Like, you've already committed. You've committed twice. How are you going to just like, oh, well, at least I get to go to Luigi's.
But she hasn't gone there yet. I found that from Justin. Not yet.
Oh.
Well,
you
also
go from 1 month to never yet? Well, that's crazy.
We found out from Justin that Cedric is vegan and doesn't eat cheese.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. Well, I mean, breadsticks. I'm sure Luigi's has some side salads. There's other
long way to go for a side salad.
He could go for
go to Boston.
A nice little Sprite. That's interesting. Well, I don't like cheese.
So do you eat
but
pizza?
I do eat pizza. Yeah. And I have met many people who don't like cheese but eat pizza. So it's a thing.
Okay. So I wasn't questioning it.
Okay.
I wasn't.
I already go on
yucking
defense.
Your yum. Yeah.
Everyone always questions it too much. Like, oh, well, why don't you like lasagna? Well, there's ricotta cheese in that. That's different than me eating a slice of pepperoni.
Yeah, I was going to let it go. I wasn't going to pursue it too far. Yeah.
There's some trauma there.
But for Cedric, then, his other stipulation was, all right, fine. You know what? I'll keep Say, but here's my stipulation. You two, like, you're going to get along, okay? If anything, I need to get these other two people who do not get along in this tribe to start working together, perhaps so that they vote me out at the next tribal council.
And once again, at that moment, as I'm seeing him say this, my jaw's on the ground because, Cedric, have you seen the other two tribes? Did you see David? Like, any chance that, like, have you seen David? Have you seen Shaheen? Like, they're
right.
Joe. Oh my gosh. The fact that in Cedric's mind, it's like, okay, if y'all can get along, then we can work as a team and we could potentially win an immunity. Let's say the tribe is staying together.
Yeah.
Y'all three.
I didn't really think about it last night. Yeah. In like, and I love Cedric, so I don't want this to be too much of a reading of Cedric. But that being said, the decision that got made to then not only get rid of your tightest ally, to keep the person you voted for twice, but if you were going to have any chance in hell to potentially win a challenge, and they don't know they're going to swap. I mean, maybe they're suspecting it, but to maybe have a chance in one of these challenges, how do you lose Justin, who's the best physical person left in this tribe?
Because what does getting along finally get them? Like,
peace.
Where
Cedric, he doesn't like all the stress.
Like, I can't. I mean, even Kevin, when he left last week, was saying like, okay, I can finally get some peace and quiet, which honestly, that's the first thought I had walking out. Like, oh my gosh, finally, I don't have to hear that. But okay, let's say perfect world, they start to get along. Cedric, why do you want the other two people in the tribe getting along? If y'all are going to stick together, let's say y'all lose again, because I don't know the numbers, but the likelihood is there. They get along. You want them to get along so much that they respect each other so much that they vote you out? I was just so confused on the logic. Like, where does that get you, Cedric, if they get along? Which
Did you think, Asia, at any point, did you think that Cedric might have just left himself?
I questioned it
Yeah.
because it felt like such a difficult decision. And yes, let me be clear. I love Cedric too. Cedric knows this. So just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he probably is like, oh, what was I thinking at this tribal to just be going back and forth? But there was a split moment that I thought, they did say this was a historic tribal council. Like, that's not him necessarily quitting. That's him he can't make a decision. So he's just like, Jeff.
Yeah. And this isn't a knock on Cedric, who's like a very capable professional person. But, if he got there and it's like day 7, like, yeah, you know what? I'm not feeling this. This was, you know what? This is not my thing. Like, this is not, coming naturally to me. The challenges have been a struggle. Some of this gameplay, not what I thought it was going to be. I'm going to go back to my life. I have a great life. I totally could have seen that happening with Cedric.
Potentially. There was a split moment. And then I was just thinking, like, okay, when I started thinking of the mechanics of it, like, my biggest question of it all was, why did they, in the moment, it was like, okay, why did they let them revote? Okay, I get it. This is same as Sam and Sierra, right? Where one can vote. And then it's just like, oh, when we found out, okay, Mary's safe. You can't, these other two, like, say Justin can't vote. Oh, Cedric has to go. I thought by default he would have to leave.
You're right. I kind of thought that that's where it went, that it was the Cedric getting a choice to make instead of being the person who's eliminated. I thought was confusing. And I really thought that when Cedric voted for Justin and tied it up, for a second, I'm like, I think Cedric just voted himself out of the game because that in the past, and, I would love to get, how much your brain broke during this. And, I didn't even attempt really on the know-it-alls to try to figure it out because a lot of people who are better at this type of thing tried to explain it on Twitter. And we had where the original, obviously, shot in the dark happens. Justin loses his vote. The only 2 people that are voting are Say and Cedric. And then they get 2 votes on Mary. Those votes are nullified. We have no votes. They go back and do it again. And to me, I feel like, okay, well, this is the tiebreak vote, okay?
That's what I was thinking.
So now on the tiebreak vote, okay, we have 1 vote Say, 1 vote Justin. And I'm like, uh-oh, now we're going to rocks. But then, we had another revote on that. Actually, we had 2 revotes on that.
Yeah, because I took a screenshot of something earlier of how it was classified. It was like, it was because it was considered a null vote, then a tie, then a deadlock. And it's just kind of wild, with it being 4 people getting all of this. But that's what I was wondering. So yes, my brain broke in the fact that they were voting again. And I could not understand what Cedric thought the next step would be. So after they voted the second time, and he has voted Say the second time, I don't understand what he thought the next step would be.
Yeah. And I don't know if they stop down at the tribal council and do like an explanation of the rules for the players. I don't know. I could tell you in Survivor, the Amazon, and this is like, so far back, 20 years ago, like there's nobody that is on the beach at that point in time that still works on the show. And I was asking at the final 6 about, okay, well, Jenna and Heidi want to force a 3-3 tie. I'm like, well, what's the tiebreak rules? And they're like, you'll find out at tribal council. They wouldn't even tell me what the tiebreak rules were before we got there. Now, I've seen it play out on the show many, many times since that point. So I don't know if the players are sort of like, if we stop down, like, okay, just so you know, before you vote, here's what happens.
I would imagine they do. I had at my first and my final tribal council, the example that I had was, we even got an example because it was our first tribal. We got an example on how to vote, just simply how to vote and where our voice carries. And so I would imagine they stop down between each vote to say, okay, the next step, this is what's going to happen, X, Y, and Z. Because even Justin said this was the longest tribal
Yeah.
ever.
Yes.
And so, like, where was that? Was it in the first portion of the
No,
talking?
I don't think so. Because Jeff is like, hey, I've never said this before. Like, let's vote. But I suspect that like these conversations that were had by Jeff, like when he comes out there, I think there were probably some very long discussions that were had, like with the powers that be at Tribal Council, like going over, making sure Jeff is like abundantly clear on this is the rules of the game and this is how everything is going to be decided. I just don't know if like the players like in between things like, wait, hold on. So what happens next? Like, and if they would like give them all that information like in the heat of the moment at Tribal Council, in the same way you would like before you do a challenge, be able to sort of like, wait, can I throw my beanbag at this person's stuff? They're like, no, we're not doing that.
Right. Because you would imagine if they had full clarity that Cedric would know, Cedric would be committing to, okay, I'm for sure voting out Say if I'm going to go and do it a second time. If they knew like, okay, after this, then I'm sure they didn't say, okay, if it's a tie, we'll let y'all know in the next step what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because that's just a huge risk at that point. But yeah, I wonder if it ever crossed Say's mind because they were thinking about potentially were they thinking, did they discuss this on the beach to do 1-1-1? Her and Cedric were talking about it.
I don't recall that as a topic of conversation. I think she was saying that she wanted to at least put a vote on Justin.
Yeah, because I'm like,
but I think that they always thought it was in the context of like a 2-1-0 if Mary was going to play the shot in the dark.
Yeah, because I was thinking that she just, I was wondering if she had ever considered voting Cedric, but it was like so out of the realm of possibility for her that he would even vote her. So it's very interesting because it really all of it makes me wonder just like what was this conversation? What was this pitch that this long pitch? I don't know if that was the longest part that convinced Cedric to vote out Justin over Say.
Yeah. Maybe the longest part of it is, and we've seen Say through 3 episodes, I don't think we ever get to a point where Say takes no for an answer.
Yeah, I could see that.
No, okay, we're gonna stay here all night, Cedric. Like, right. I'm not going home. So I don't know what you have to hear, but we're gonna talk about this until you say you're voting out Justin.
Yeah, and
she's not gonna let it go.
Yeah, what it felt like in this moment, like when he finally says, "Oh, the stipulation is I need y'all to get along." That was a dad. That was a dad saying, look here, y'all been up all night. I need y'all to quiet down for all of us. And so I feel like in that moment, it was like, you know what? I do see Say as a daughter. And it had to be something personal. It had to be something that pulled at his heartstrings. It had to be like, okay, it would break my heart at this point to actually vote her out. Even though I voted her, wrote her name down twice. To act like it would physically hurt me. Whereas Justin's final words were, hey man, you can come to Luigi's.
Right. You don't think for Cedric it was all, y'all, I'm tired. I would need to go to bed. Come on, let's wrap this up. What do we have to do to get back home?
Honestly, that probably was like 20% of it because like once the sun is down, I personally was out. And that's probably part of the downfall of my game because
you couldn't stay up late.
Oh, I couldn't. I literally was so exhausted by the time the sun went down. I see the sunset. I'm like, all right, I'm doing my bedtime routine. I'm going to clean my feet, getting the sand off my toes. I'm filling up my water jug so I can have water throughout the night.
Yeah.
Like I was getting everything in place because once the sun was down, you couldn't see anything at our shelter.
Well, do you feel like that you missed out on anything when everybody, because I feel like it's not like Big Brother. It's not like there's like the 3 a.m. crew of people that are up all night.
We did. We had the people that would sleep, like most likely, like some nights Saul would be on the beach, some nights Rome, some nights Genevieve. I remember like maybe like it was day 5 or 6. It was one night where like, this is what I think about a lot. That like, it'll randomly pop in my head. Like, why didn't you do this? One night I woke up and Genevieve and Rome were sitting on the beach just talking. And it was like a middle of the night. Like I just got up to use the restroom and I was like, I should have like tried to just stay up and just converse. It probably wouldn't have made a difference, but I was just thinking through like, I trained myself to sleep before going out there.
You did too good.
Yeah. Well, like I slept without a pillow for a month, like on my back. And I was like, okay, no matter what, on the floor, on my bed, where on the couch. And by the time I got out there, as soon as I was right in the right crevice of that bamboo, I was knocked out. I had dreams. Like I was asleep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but there were people that were up late. Like I would say everybody except for me and Keyshawn, which look how that turned out, had rotated nights of just being up late, hearing like people tell stories and stuff.
Because I feel like what you hear on Survivor, and I think Charlie said this in Survivor 46, is that first thing in the morning is where the action is on Survivor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, see, for us, it was like first thing in the morning was like a tribe thing. Like most of us were up early. I'd say the only one who kind of slept in a lot was Keyshawn, but we would be up just watching the sunrise. So there weren't not a lot of game talk at that moment because it's just a random assortment of people and like early in the morning watching the sunrise. It was mostly at night for us.
All right, let's talk a little bit about Mary. And everybody was so excited that she hit the shot in the dark. What a great moment for Mary. Did you see that she told Dalton Ross before the game started that her number one pet peeve about Survivor, or her hot take, was that the shot in the dark is whack?
Yes, which is just hilarious. And I mean, she's been gold on social media. She is hilarious. But it was just like, yeah, the irony is insane because obviously you can see why people don't like the shot in the dark. It's very difficult to play around and strategize around. But it's just like, I wonder, like, did she manifest this? Like when she's floating out in the water, swimming, like she was just so cool, calm, and collected. And then to hit the shot in the dark, like that
she knew.
I don't know. Like, yeah, you obviously this game has a lot of luck. We all know this, but just the like that's. I mean, we obviously 1 in 6 odds. But.
This is Sam grabbed that she shared, or Dalton Ross shared, the shot in the dark is kind of whack
until it works for you. She's like, JK, never said that.
Yeah. Well, she ends up playing the shot in the dark. I was a little disappointed. I kind of felt like that she was going to save herself through throwing off Say. And I feel like that the fact that like the episode, I feel like presented like her bluff was working, but ultimately her bluff did not work.
Right. It's funny because it's like,
it was like, wow, Mary, mind game queen. But ultimately that they did, it was like, okay, well, we're just gonna have to go with it. Right.
Because it worked on Say. It seemed like it worked on Say, but not on the guys. And so the guys were like, I mean, like in that moment, thinking that everyone had their vote, she's outnumbered, and Say's like, okay, let's just vote out Mary. Which she didn't obviously have something. But I think that she knew her opponent at this point. Yeah. And she knew, like, okay, this is how Say's brain works. And I think that she's going to believe it. And she, like, questioned it. But then Cedric's like, nah.
Well, Say almost got talked into a scenario where she could have gone home, where that her original idea, I believe, was that she wanted to put a vote on Justin and Cedric. And I guess ultimately Justin talked her out of doing that. But if she puts one vote on Justin, thinking it's going to be a 2-1-0, then Mary's vote gets nullified. Cedric puts his vote on Mary, gets nullified. It ends up being Justin who goes out without any sort of tiebreaker, 1-0. It doesn't ever get to the point where Cedric gets to cast a tiebreak vote. Because it's
1-0.
If Say puts her one vote on Justin.
So Justin would have gone home regardless.
He would have gone home, without it getting to a tiebreaker in that spot.
Right. Oh, so you're saying she almost sent herself home by not voting for Justin.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I kind of think that is, I think she should have done it. Like, I think that maybe she felt like, okay, well, Justin's part of my alliance. I don't want to unsettle that. But we've seen lots of players of, okay, what if the shot in the dark hits? What if she has an idol?
Right. You know, I
What would it have
think
cost? I think that this is actually maybe where Chanel got in trouble in Survivor 42, where she put her vote on Mike Turner just in case, like, was it if Daniel
mhm.
Strunk had something?
Yeah, I think it just came down to, because she even said in the voting booth, she's like, he never trusts men. So I think that's what she just decided to put her full trust in Cedric, even though the vote before she trusted Cedric, played her idol,
Hmm.
and didn't need to.
Yeah.
And so, it very well could have just been like, I do remember day 7 is a very difficult. At that point, my brain just was not working, and it was like that for other people too, and just like explaining things. And I just remember me and Saul trying to have conversations and couldn't even think of words. Like, I'm trying to communicate this to you, but I don't know the word that, like, oh, like, it was
Hmm.
very simple stuff.
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking like, okay, Say's thinking through the options. If she's thinking, okay, Mary is just the straightforward thing, we'll figure it out. Like, there's no, yeah, I don't, because what was her, I guess there was no plan for if Mary did have an idol and Mary had voted Say.
Yeah. I guess that Say was, yes, honestly, like, I really think that Say made a mistake on that first round of the vote, because if Justin and maybe she underestimated how close that Justin and Cedric were. If those guys were so close, like, I think that maybe she should have probably thought, it's like, hey, it's 50-50. Maybe Cedric votes with me, but maybe those two guys just team up on me. And I don't even have a round where I get to really defend myself.
Do you think there's something to the fact that Say was like, day 1, I'm focused on the game. I'm not trying to I don't need you to learn about my mom like this. In the fact that Cedric and Justin did do that, it seems like they were talking personally. Do you think that that's why it was missed, is like, oh, at some point Cedric will prioritize Justin over me?
Yeah, well, Justin talked a little bit about his relationship with Cedric. I think that Say has largely been rewarded for how she's approached the game, especially where she's on such a disaster tribe of, hey, I've got to
Mm-hmm.
build my core 4 as quick as possible and get my group together. But in this disaster tribe, you ultimately were going to need like a core 2.
Yeah.
And I think that Justin and Cedric kind of beat her to the punch on having a core 2. If we remember how that first episode went, we saw Say go to Mary and Stephanie, and she tries to form an alliance with them. And she's like, they want to talk about personal life. Like, I need my alliance. I need the core 4. And she goes and finds Justin and Cedric, who are already together.
Yeah.
And Justin talked about in his interview with me about how him and Cedric already had a bond from day 1. So Say picks those guys up together, but I don't know if she had fully realized that they were a pair. They were sort of like a package deal coming into Say's core 4.
Right. Yeah, because Justin pointed out he helped Cedric off the boat. And
Yeah.
like, it was that small moment of just like, you're my guy. Yeah, you can't, it's really hard because those early days you're just trying to pick up on anything, to just be like, okay, I can trust this person, because you're banking
Hmm.
on just thin air. Like, you don't know how
Yeah.
people are gonna play yet at that point. So yeah, I feel like she felt like she was approaching 2 random people, but the fact that they were already paired up. Yeah.
For most of the time, a core 4 is going to be what you need in the new era. Like, most of these tribes, are going to go to, and I think it was all the tribes in your season went to either 1 or 2 tribal councils. That's probably like what you should be expecting, where I'm going to go maybe once or twice in the pre-merge, and I got to make sure that I'm in the group of 4 when I go to these tribal councils. What is, I think, harder to plan for is we're going to go to 3 or 4 tribal councils in the pre-merge. And in that case, it's a little bit of a different scenario.
Very true. It But then it's also, there's different mindsets in terms of like, oh, we're going to be going to tribal, where you have people like Say's kind of was playing like that from day 1. Like, I need to be prepared if we do go to tribal, where there may be other people are like, no, let's just make sure that we are cohesive enough to where we go to these immunity challenges and we don't even have to go to tribal yet. Because we dealt with that on Lavo, where it was like me and Saul were like, let's just be a team and
Yeah.
not go. And then you have other people are like, well, no, if we go to tribal, this is the plan. And so that those two different mindsets kind of, I mean, they hugely affect how you're playing the game and how you're strategizing or whatever. Yeah,
You guys dominated the first challenge. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And
absolutely.
you got out
Like
to such
by
a
30 plus minutes.
okay. Did that change the way at all the people were approaching the game? Where we have sort of like the inverse of that, where I'm sorry, that the Vula is so bad, and that they know they're probably going. Like Justin said, okay, the boat is sinking. We are going back to tribal council. They knew. Did that change the way that you all were thinking about it in terms of like that you did so well at the first challenge?
Oh, absolutely. Because we were like, we had a majority of the tribe was thinking, oh my gosh, look at how we lost that day one challenge. And look at the other tribes. Like they have these, like they seem like beasts, right? And so when we did actually win by such a large margin, we were more so in a state of shock that then we were able to pull that off. We never turned over our boat. And so like that was the key, really. And so then we were just kind of like, oh my gosh, wait, we may not have to like deal with this if we can keep this up. But it was kind of, we had to try to keep that mindset without dropping back into, well, we just got lucky and there, you know. And so I feel like the speed of the game stayed the same because a lot of people on Lavo, I would say for a majority of Lavo was focused on personal relationships. Whereas like at this point, Rome had already had his advantage, right? So then that him being off all the time had stopped.
Yeah.
And he had like resorted to, hey, I'm about to go over here. Does someone want to come with me? And it was at that point, like me and Saul for sure were like, oh, he has something.
So in the episode last night, we saw where Mary was out looking for the idol and Say was chasing her. And somehow this game of hide and seek ended up bringing them closer together. But in Survivor 47, that we saw this a couple different times, but we saw this specifically with Rome and Saul. It did not bring them closer together when Rome was following Saul around. What was the difference, do you feel like, between Mary and Say actually like gaining a lot of respect for each other, where maybe Saul did not gain a lot of respect for Rome when Rome was following him around?
Yeah, I think it seemed like it seems like at this point with Mary and Say, it's never been personal. And I think that's the huge difference. Like, I think they both have recognized like they are going after each other because they both feel like the other's a threat to their game, like, period. Right. Which is why they get to the chase and it's like, oh, I respect you because you were playing this game hard. The difference in between that and the chase in well, it's not really a chase, but the following along with Rome and Saul was just like, it was already so tumultuous at that point in terms of like, how the communication was, how awful it was, that it was just not like, oh, they could flip the switch and be like, I respect this person because they're playing hard. It was the motivations felt different.
You know, in terms of partnerships, and you and Saul had a great relationship, and it was, you know, clear to people like, okay, you two are a strong duo, and it's been a season of strong duos. I'm interested to know of how important do you think that is to have and to find your person early on, or do you think it could be something that ends up hurting you?
Right. Yeah, it's such a fine balance. It's such a like it's a fine line to ride because not only you have to find a duo, but you also have to find a duo that they would be willing to vote that person out more. People want to vote that person out over you, which I felt like I was in that position a little bit because in the like the conversations that I would have with like Genevieve or have well, mainly just Genevieve, it just felt like, oh, the impact of the relationship between Rome and Saul was affecting like, okay, like her view of like wanting to work with Saul or whatever. So I'm like, okay, it feels like that would be the priority there. But if you find, I mean, because we heard this in just Justin's exit interview, I think it was with Mike, where it was just kind of like he felt like, hey, if we get down to the point where I have to like compete against Cedric, I know I can beat him. So it was like he felt like he found like the perfect partner, but it also seems like they had a good communication in terms with how they wanted to play the game, such as, oh, they knew voting out Kevin was going to leave Say and Mary at odds. Like they knew, okay, they're never going to work together. So that's actually a great thing for us. We could just choose who we want to work with at that point. And I think that, maybe that was Justin underestimating Cedric and Say's relationship. But I think a duo is good, but a trio is better. But you always have somebody who's thinking like, oh, this person is more, these two people are closer, which is why it leads me to this point. Let's get rid of 6-person tribes. I'm not a fan.
Will we vote on it for Survivor 50, Aysha?
Yes. Will we?
I suspect we will not.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what happened to the votes?
So
is it like
from
a
what
beginning?
I understand, I think that there's going to be like votes like 3 or 4 times during the season, and then each vote is going to be open for a week, and then we will not know the answers of how people voted until we get to Survivor 50. So I think in a couple of weeks we'll get another round of votes.
This is
but
what
we
I
still
would
don't
love.
know what they were going to vote on.
Yeah, this is what I would love. This may be ambitious, but 3 tribes of 8.
Okay.
I think that's 24 people. I think you can't come in and say, okay, I just need to get my 5. That's a lot of people.
It's a throwback 8-person tribes for sure. Yeah. I think my question is, and Jeff has talked about how that they are very committed to 26 days. How do you do 24 people in 26 days?
Maybe you do a couple of double tribals.
And it would be, a lot on the production. Like they'd really have to be like running and gunning for like the whole time. And I don't know, maybe they have, I guess you maybe you could have tribal council where if you wanted to, and you have the 90-minute episodes, but I think that people would be a little disappointed to see it go that way of that basically in a 3-tribe format, only the tribe, there's been a lot of like fan run Survivor games that only the tribe that wins immunity avoids tribal council. Like second place, you still go to tribal council.
Yeah. I like that.
So maybe you don't have tribal council every single day, but you have a lot of 2 tribal council days.
Yeah, like he takes off he reveals the immunity idols and it's just 1.
It's just 1.
And maybe next time it's 2, but maybe next time it's 1. I think it kind of leaves things in the air. Yes, a lot more work on production, but they're beasts. It's a well-oiled machine. I have so much respect.
Just one person goes home first, and then you have your pre-merge, and in the pre-merge you end up having 5 double tribal councils.
Imagine the excitement for the people at Ponderosa as they walk in. Like, oh, are we getting 1 person or 2? Like, it became like, obviously, because we talked about this a lot, the pre-jurors at Ponderosa, just like, look, this is not what we thought our Survivor journey would be. But we're embracing it. We are learning about each other's experiences and stuff. And so that became a very exciting thing to just kind of look. We like had these stairs to look at and we would see what color. Like, oh, red. Oh, yellow.
Yeah. Just in talking this through, okay, even if you have 26 days and you get rid of somebody like, okay, on day 3, and then you have this double tribal council on day 5, day 7, day 9, day 11, like day 13, and then you have like the merge on day 14. You're still getting to the merge with, I think, check my math on this, 13 people, which is kind of what they already do now. So I think you could do it. I think you'd probably have to maybe you get rid of the journeys. I know the journeys are a big part of the new era, but instead of instead of a journey in a few of these episodes, you're getting, 2 tribal councils. Maybe they could get 2 hours for season 50, to do it then.
I'd watch.
Yeah. So I think we watch it,
Yeah. I just think that we've gotten, yes, we're obviously going to be entering a new phase. We have to be at the new era. Like, we have to be. And I just feel like it's just become a formula to say, oh, I want a core four. And that's the only way you have to get through the early part of the game, when there's just so much more flexibility that can happen without just having a core four and then people just having, it just like, once you're in the bottom, there's just no way out. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it just makes it very difficult for people that aren't able to just connect with people, like just through common things, right? Like, okay, you may have one thing in common, like, oh, we both like Chipotle, but that's nothing like, oh, we're both like Guyanese. Like, imagine the pure joy Camilla and Kyle had.
Or Aysha, imagine you're on like a 6-person tribe, and then there's like somebody is like, I think I just met my future wife. Like, what do you do? What do you do in that spot? How do you break that up?
Right. How do you start, like, Rob,
I don't
in that
know.
moment, did you think, should I start a rumor or something that she thinks I'm cute? Or I don't know. Like,
No, I did not think that. I was like, this isn't going to work. This is a horrible plan. What are they doing? Showmance?
Exactly.
That's idiots. Hello.
I mean, even our cast was difficult in that, like, I think there were 4 of the 18 that were single. So not like we weren't out there looking for love, right? But it's still like the fact that these 2 people can talk about their spouses.
Right.
And, I'm talking about what it's like on Hinge. That's not exciting.
Aysha, should you pile on with Stephen Fishback, who has said, like, hey, we need to bring attractive people back to Survivor, which, present company obviously excluded, but do they need to bring single people back to Survivor?
I don't think so, because love the idea. People would watch for sure.
Because it used to be, Aysha, back in the day, that you go through Survivor casting and they say, like, hey, do you have a boyfriend? And it's like, oh, yeah. Like, all right, you're out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, and I love the love that has, like, Matt.
Is anybody even single on this show?
In this season?
Yeah.
That's a great question. Maybe.
I think everybody is booed up.
Yeah.
Not that I'm prying that hard into everybody's personal life.
Right. We're on like partner tracker. Yeah, it's hard because, like, when you
wait, now is partner tracker a real thing?
No.
Okay.
I can invent it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like
$1 billion idea, partner tracker.
Right.
Maybe that's why everybody is getting into pairs on the season, because they're used to everybody being in a relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that is something, because I forgot that was a thing on our season. But that is a thing where the imbalance of single people versus taken people is, I think that does affect connections.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need a season where people are finding their soulmate, because how do you break that up? How do you strategize against that?
On Survivor the Amazon, like, I don't think any of the people like under 35 years old had any relationship. Everybody's completely single.
Yeah.
No attachments. Let me ask you though. Okay, speaking of relationships.
Okay.
I thought David did something so brilliant last night. Okay. And this is going to be maybe a controversial opinion, Aysha. So, okay. You tell me if I need to remove this from the podcast. That what David did last night, when he talked about how his girlfriend was going to break up with him if he didn't win the $1 million and publicly announced it, he boxed her in so bad. She can't break up with him now. If he doesn't win and then she breaks up with him, he's going to say, see, I told you she was going to break up with me if I didn't win the $1 million. Now she has to stay with him.
You have a very valid point.
David is a master strategist. Give him the fishy.
He's actually genius, because at this point, it can't even be that oh, you come back and all you talk about is Survivor, blah, blah, blah. But now, girl, he has shown your cards. It's like someone walked up to, she's playing poker. He walked up to the table and showed everybody her cards because there's no way she can end it now. Because that would be the only, no matter what reason she tries to sprinkle on it. No, it's if he doesn't win, that's why.
Yeah, he just like he called her out. Like, you're not gonna do that. It's like, I wouldn't do that, and now she can't.
Listen, I'm just imagining when he said that. I'm just imagining them sitting at home on the couch, and he says that. She looks at him like, what? I never said that.
It could be maybe awkward conversation.
Right. He's like, well, no, that's how I took it. I don't know which is if it's true. Wow, it can't be true. I'm more on the side that it's just not true. I mean, I trust David.
I would think it's maybe an exaggeration.
I really.
So you're being like Kyle right now. He's like, what? Like, yeah, it's true. Why would you call me out on that? It's not cool.
That's sick, dude.
Yeah.
Talk about reading someone's energy the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, it's Survivor. I mean, I think that's like a good lesson of like, how do you take, because everything on Survivor is like, hey, that's great, that's cool. Like, how do you? It's a tough thing to do. Like, how do you receive somebody's like sort of not necessarily like bad news, but someone someone's negative self-talk on Survivor? I think you're probably thinking like, oh no, I got to build this person back up. And that's not what David wanted in that moment.
The problem is he didn't shift his tone. He's in the same tone. He says he's living in a trailer in front of his dad's house. How is Kyle supposed to know that this is negative? He should have said, oh man, I'm really here because I'm in a tight spot right now. I'm living in a trailer. That is giving you don't want it. But you're like, yeah man, I live in a trailer in front of my dad's house. That sounds like it's a cool thing. Like you want that. There are people, living in vans, driving across the country.
Van life.
Yeah.
Who is Turner? Where's Turner?
Right.
He thought it was cool.
Yeah. So it's just like, because what was Kyle supposed to say? Oh man, you'll get on your feet soon.
Yeah.
I don't know what was the appropriate response?
I don't know.
Oh, that's awkward.
Yeah. I think the appropriate response is a trailer.
Right.
And then he let him expand.
He's just like, oh, could never be me.
Yeah. So that was tough. Interesting. I thought David also got like the episode, like he almost like opened the episode. I kind of thought this was going to be a very David focused episode. They did this with one of the intros with Rome in 47, where it was like all about him. I think it was his boot episode. And I think that we got like the introduction to David really all throughout the previously on. Yeah.
It did make us think like, oh, you're going to be seeing more of David, specifically in the last 10 minutes of the episode. Maybe it's just that there wasn't much else to show on Siva besides the boat ride, because they got out that he's a Chad.
Yeah. Do you ever call anybody a Chad?
My definition of a Chad is a little bit different here in Texas. A Chad is more so like just the guy with the collared shirts, the loafers, the khaki shorts, the shades on their head, but it's like midnight.
Kind of like more preppy a Chad.
Yeah. So now I'm learning.
Camilla
maybe
also called him Giga Chad.
Yeah. Maybe that's the West Coast version of a Chad.
He's a West Coast Chad.
Doesn't Camilla live in California?
I think so.
Yeah. So Chads they come in different forms.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe. What do you think about new artificial intelligence, Chad GPT?
What do they do specifically?
I'm trying to think. What would
okay,
so we have the $1 billion name of Chad GPT, but what do they do?
I think they give cool text responses if you want to sound like a Chad.
Mhm.
Like, this is specifically for like wannabe Chads. Like, you don't present as a Chad, but you want to sound like a Chad.
Yeah. How do I sound more like a Chad? Help me
Yeah.
sound more authentic. And then I load this all up into Chad GPT.
Yeah, Chat GPT can help with your Hinge profile, your Bumble profile, partner tracker.
Partners, yeah. Chat GPT. Can you help me invent a new app called Partner Tracker so I can track? Do I track my own partner or do I track to see if other people have potential partners?
I would say other people specifically because, well, it could be both. Because if I'm thinking, there are Facebook groups out there, which I feel like I can publicly say this because the Facebook group rules are they're tight. There are groups out there where women are trying to see if they are dating the same man.
Yeah.
That's a perfect use for partner tracker. Hey, I
And
have
they're
this
like
person's
local,
name.
right? They're like based on like a city.
City, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you try to see, hey, does this person have a partner? And they just
But
scour
sometimes
the
doesn't it
internet.
happen where it's like a woman is like, hey, is anybody dating this guy? And then
Yes.
women then say like, oh, not yet.
Yep. They do. And then the moderators will come in and say, hey, guys, this is not why she asked. You need to don't make comments like this. Or women will say, ooh, girl, why are you going after him?
Mhm.
And it's, it's the other side of it. It's like, okay, hey, we do not talk about people's looks.
Now, when they find out, two women find out, okay, we're both dating the same person, then do the women ever, then they start off rivals and then they become friends like Mary and say, like they have respect for each other?
Only when the moderators say one stipulation. Y'all have to get along.
Yes, Cedric should moderate the group.
Right.
He would be the perfect person.
Perfect person to start friendships. I mean, I've actually read a book. I read like a fiction book that was like these three women were all dating the same guy, and then they all became best friends, and then the author made like a trilogy book about it.
What happened to the guy?
The guy they recorded it and put it on Twitter.
Recorded what?
Recorded him on a date with one of them, and the other two women like crashed the date and was like, "Oh no, you didn't. You're dating us too," which is. I don't even want to get into when like TikTok and Twitter get into books. That just feels I'm reading a book to just enjoy. I can scroll social media. I don't need it incepting my books.
Does that ever happen on Survivor where it's like somebody has like 3 number ones and then they all get together? I'm sure it's happened if we think about it. Did that happen to Swathi?
Right.
Like, you're my number one, and then they all talk and they become friends.
I mean, did it kind of happen with Teenie too? Like, Teenie said that a lot of people were their number one. Mm-hmm. Like, Teenie at one point said that Saul was, Genevieve was, Rome was.
But then everybody didn't come back together and say like, hey, we're like, that's it. We're all best friends now and we're going after Teenie tonight.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can't turn on like the mutual point.
Yeah, it's like they can't like record them on Twitter and then, like, hey, you hide in the bushes and I'll get them to say that they're my number one. And then you confront them.
Yeah, I guess Swathi would be the better example. Poor Swathi.
But they never just like all confront them at the same time. Like everybody comes in with like their arms folded. Like, oh, so who's your number one? Right. Why don't you tell us? Tell her what you told me about our alliance.
Should that have been what Say and
you
Justin
said we
did?
Were a final 2.
Imagine that. Say and Justin. Again, like.
Yeah. Yes, Cedric. They both should have like taken turns like berating him. And maybe like if the two of them both like focused on Cedric, like maybe he might have left.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe
know what? Maybe like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry.
Need this.
I'm sorry. Sorry, both of you.
Love my life back home.
This was a mistake to come here. I'm sorry. I owe you both an apology. Promise me you'll all get along now.
Yes. Listen. I will draw a rock under one condition.
Jeff, bring out the rock bag.
That you three get along after this and win some immunities.
Was it in the show or was it on the On Fire podcast that Jeff talked about the idea of that okay, if it couldn't have come to, I think it was on the On Fire podcast, Jeff talked about how if Cedric couldn't make a decision, then he would have to reach into a bag with one rock in it and then pull out the rock. Well, I got the rock, everybody. It's me. Like that. That would have been amazing. That would have been one of the greatest Survivor moments of all time.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like,
Cedric reaches into a bag of one rock to pull it out.
It would have been just like that. The picture of him holding the bag and the white rock, like that would have just been so epic.
Mm-hmm.
That was wild.
Yeah. An incredible moment. Let me ask you about Justin, who was in Mike's interview with Justin today. He was talking about how Justin had a chance to be on a previous season, and the doctors actually found a medical condition, which he credited as saving his life before he came out to go play. Do you know what season Justin would have played on?
You know, that when I saw that, and then even how he explained it was very interesting, like a knuckle and one is sticking out. But so I'm so glad he's okay.
I didn't even know that could happen.
Me neither. Yeah.
Like, could somebody check my heart knuckles?
Right. I mean, I was very curious going
Who
through
do I have
all
to
that.
go see? Can Cedric help me with that?
Right.
It's not close enough.
Having a doctor on your tribe is I will say it's a great thing.
Yeah.
I had a spider bite that I was monitoring.
Oh my God.
Oh, and my lips were so sunburnt. And Keyshawn would help me and check in. And he's like, "Oh, it's white, which means it's healing." I was like, "Oh, glad I look awful." I was so afraid to see that, but it didn't come out that bad on the show, I don't think.
Aysha, what was it? Was it a spider bite?
So I had a spider bite on my leg that was just like.
What was on your face?
My lips were sunburnt. Like that's the only part of me that sunburns. And it was just like day 1 and 2, it sunburned really bad and they just started peeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like, it looked weird, but Keyshawn helped me know that I was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so fortunate that I'm blessed because that they put different specialists, not Philip Shepard, but when they put different specialists on Survivor, it's like, okay, oh, great. Urologist on Survivor. Okay, great. Now I got somebody I could text. Okay, we've got Cedric. Okay, right. If I need anything, colorectal. Okay, now I got a guy.
Right. Yeah.
I need a cardiologist.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Sam, are there any reality TV cardiologists? Because Cedric's an oncologist? I believe he specializes in, I'm not sure about oncology. I know he specializes in colorectal surgery, but I'm not sure exactly his pedigree.
Well, do you know who comes up when I search cardiologist Survivor?
Who?
Mike Gabler.
Oh, but I don't think he's a doctor.
No, heart valve specialist.
Yeah. Okay. So that's somebody. All right. Maybe. Okay. All right. Oh, sorry. I don't know if everybody's gonna like that. Might have to have him on the podcast. Sam, book Gabler for a podcast soon.
Right.
I'm not a kid anymore. Don't get mad at me, everybody. Get that Gabler deep dive scheduled
soon.
I mean, I'm okay right now, but like in the next couple of years.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Question. Okay. Back to your question. Which season Justin could have been on if he was in talks last year? So we're thinking 45, 46. I personally think every season has a look. Like I can easily refer, like, I feel like it just, people look like their seasons for some reason.
All right. I love this theory. Okay. So that they all share a common look, or they look like they belong on a season?
They look like they belong on a season. Like a season has a certain air about it.
Yes.
Like there's a
vibe or a look?
Vibe feels okay. Vibe does feel more appropriate. because people, they don't look the same, but
Mhm.
the vibe, like obviously 48 chaotic vibe. Like I think
Yeah.
that it's just like, it's a given that these, I will say Justin almost looked a little out of place being on 48 because he seemed so cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah. What
But
season does he fit on?
46, no, 46 was
No, they're too
also
crazy.
40. Yeah, okay, 45, but I
Can I tell,
can't.
if we're talking about 46, that do you feel like that Justin looks at all like Jelinski? Could you see that? Could they be like cousins?
They could be cousins, absolutely. Cousins on their mom's side. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, I don't know why they both have long hair, or Jelinski had long hair, right? So I was trying to imagine them both with short hair to help the visual, but they favor.
Yeah.
But I think if we had to pick a season for Justin, that's 45. But if we're thinking, there were a couple people on 47 that I think matched the look of the vibe of 48. Like you could see a Gabe on 48.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to think who on 48 I could see on my season. Like a Stephanie. Mary could have, yeah. Stephanie and Mary.
Stephanie, you feel like it's a 47?
It's hard, you know.
I feel like that 47 was a season, just from my outside perspective. I feel like, 46 was really classified by, like, 45 was like, okay, we all love each other, with the exception of like that it got kind of started with Emily saying, hey, we don't really love Bruce. Then 46 is like the crazy people. And, 47, I feel like we're the gamers. And 48 just seems like, we've only really gotten to know this one very messy tribe.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I was like, could you see like...
But that was how 46 started too.
Mitch?
Mitch
matches the
47?
vibe of 47?
Mitch, I think, could have been in 45. I think he could have been right there with, we all love each other, we're all best friends.
Yes, we all share everything. That's true. Okay.
Let me ask you, Aysha, about some of the things that are going on. And we haven't really talked too much about the other tribes too much. I'd love to get your take on the Lagi tribe. And this tribe is a tribe that is performing exceptionally well. But under the surface, there's some brewing tension, really. And it stems from that you had Eva and then you have Star, who are both of the people who, if this tribe goes to tribal council, might be potentially talked about. What's been your read on this group of people?
Well, I think Lagi is incredibly strong. I don't know how the three guys were put together, but that's like a dream team. The fact that you have two women that are athletes. Shoot, maybe even Bianca played a sport. I think that they are just physically very strong. So it's just kind of like they are this, which is kind of how I felt about the Tuku, the blue tribe on our season. I just felt like they were a very strong tribe. But I've enjoyed watching it. I'm really just curious. Is it like what the dynamic has been since the beginning with Star? Because is it a matter of she's not trying to get to know them, or that they're not trying to get to know her?
Yeah.
Because they're really painting this picture that she is obsessed with trying to figure out this Beware advantage. And that is all her time. Even when they had the bonfire and they celebrated it starting, she wasn't even there. Like, I'm so curious because obviously we're getting the picture that it's Eva versus Star. Like that's like, they're either siding with Star, they're either siding with Eva. But I feel like it's a whole thing for them all to just come to the agreement that, oh, we're going to get this information about her Beware advantage, but it doesn't matter because we're going to use it against her.
So I feel like that in the case of Star, I think it started off as like, hey, Star did not quickly bond with any one person on the tribe. And we saw that the guys came together, and Joe and Eva came together, and Bianca and Thomas came together. And I think that Star that felt excluded. And I think that then, because she felt excluded, then said, well, nobody's talking to me. I got to go look for the idol. And then at that point, when she goes and looks for the idol, then it's like, well, okay, well, Star, what is Star doing? She's off on her own, not even like attempting to work with us. You know, she's making us all paranoid because she's looking for the idol. I'm sure from Star's perspective, she felt like, hey, nobody even tried to get to know me, so I need to go look. So my only shot to stay is to find the idol. And then they're feeling like, well, she's like obviously alienating herself from the whole group, but because all she's doing is looking for the idol. But the good thing for Star is that she's been able to stick around long enough on this tribe that things change, where people who might have gone home on day 3 end up sticking around long enough for somebody else to put their foot in their mouth. And now Star is in a position where I think it's interesting, where we talked about, you know, the power of the duos, that there is also some power that we kind of now, like, that Mary has, that maybe Star has, of power of being sort of just like a solo person, that people are like, well, why don't we pick this person up?
You say stick around long enough to put their foot in their mouth, or stick around long enough to put a bracelet in a hand. Like, it's like a simple act of kindness was enough for them to be like, oh, they are getting too close, which it's awesome for Star. The fact that they haven't lost.
So I think that for Eva, like, I really don't think that the bracelet thing was too bad. I know I said last night it was like, you know, Survivor 101, don't do that. You know, that was something, you know, obviously, you know, that she didn't want to do that. But I think that sort of speaks to, like, that's who she is. Okay. You know, that's, you know, classic Eva. You know, she's such a nice person. She's, you know, not really playing that hard. That where things, I think, really got screwed up for Eva is that she's like, okay, she's sweet, she's strong, she's good in the challenges, she's not a schemer, but then she tried to be scheming, and then she said the wrong things.
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like it just goes to show.
She handed Star a gift this time.
Right. It just goes to show how it truly matters when you go to tribal. Because Star could have easily been a goner. If they had lost that second immunity, like, just not enough time, where it's just long enough for the tides to shift. If that's a saying, the waves, whatever it is.
And the tides turn.
Yes.
Tables turn. The tables turn. The tables turn. What do the tides do?
Yeah, I don't think they do shift. For the maybe this turn, maybe just long enough for the tide to turn. We'll go with that. That now Thomas and Bianca see value in a relationship with Star.
Thomas the other day was like, hey, throw away her idol clue.
What if it disappears?
What if it disappeared?
I could relate to Thomas's when he was ordering his wine from Joe. Him just feeling just dry and empty.
Yeah. So for Thomas, that the possibility to be able to sabotage Star's clue, like, it's so interesting because we saw last season where, you know, people had like this box that, you know, Rome had, like that little like decoder that they had. Like, sure, I think you could probably destroy that or like put it in the fire, but I don't think you'd be allowed to like take like Rome's box that Teeny and Kashan found and like go hide it on him, right?
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I think it's against, I don't know.
But do you think that they could have, would it be in the rules of the game for if say Shaheen wanted to burn the decoder?
Burn. Yes, only because it's property of, like, they spent time doing that. But if he relocated it and forgot, how is that any different than losing Mike's idol? Was it?
But Daniel Strunk did, but he didn't do it on purpose, though.
Yeah,
Like that was like an
yeah.
accident.
Is that any different? Because he lost it versus just misplacing it.
Yeah. It's
I
a
don't
fine
know.
line
It's
of
hard
like
to
what you could actually sabotage.
right. It's like, oh, did you do that on purpose? No.
Yeah.
How can you prove it?
Yeah. What do you think happens with Star's idol from here?
I think I'm totally with your theory that you said last night that they find it like Star, Thomas, Bianca work together to find it at the beginning of the next episode before the swap. There's no way she leaves that beach and has not found it yet.
Yeah. I just feel like that the history of Survivor players, like you go back to Survivor Philippines, like Malcolm and Denise find the idol right before they have the swap. And, you know, we had where I think it was like Nasir finds the idol right before the merge, and then Hunter finds the idol right before the merge. Like, I kind of feel like that these things have a way of working themselves out.
Yeah. I just wonder though, like, okay, she finds the idol. Is she gonna immediately have to use it the first time she goes to tribal? Or is because Bianca doesn't have a vote?
That's true. But we're going to have the swap tribes. So it's really going to be so interesting to see, you know, how these people who are just on the outs, how they're going to fare when they end up going to these other tribes. And I don't really even think that we got that so much in season 45, where I'm trying to remember, like, you know, you had the Reba tribe and you had the Bello tribe, but I don't remember really feeling like there was somebody who was really on the outs at Reba. Like, I feel like that there was a lot about the Reba 4, but I don't remember feeling like there was a ton of talk about like, oh, Jay Maya and Sifu are in big trouble. Or, you know, I feel like that there was a lot about Katurah and Bruce, but I don't really, maybe more for Katurah, but I don't really remember feeling like there was so much of like that we were getting how that was going to go. I feel like that we were getting a lot about how like, oh, the women are together at Bello, and okay, so Kelly and Brando have something going on, but I feel like that we did not really get a good sense of like who was truly at the bottom.
Right. Until they swapped, like until we saw Brando, like where Brando landed, we're like, oh wait, there's danger there. Yeah. Whereas these three tribes, I think it's kind of easy to see who is in danger and who's
going to get new life.
Right. Like clearly all of Vula.
Yeah. And how many of these partnerships are going to get broken up?
Right. Is there anybody that you are curious to see, like if they get on this, swap together?
I'm trying to think of who would be great to see in one tribe. You know, I feel like that Say is so funny that I feel like that there's so many people I would want to see her be with.
Every configuration in my head just now was Say and someone else.
Yeah.
Like,
well, like would Say and Camilla like get along or, you know, have a rivalry?
You know, yeah, because it's like Say has a dominant personality. So I'm thinking who is another alpha on their tribe where it's like, okay,
well,
interacting
like
with
Say and David. Like, how interesting would that be?
So David is like an alpha in life, but is he an alpha in the game? Like, is he driving like, oh, he hasn't had to prove that yet.
Yeah.
But is he the one saying, oh, we need to do this?
Well, who do you think is driving the game over in the Siva tribe?
I think Mitch, Kyle, and Camilla. But even then, okay, so maybe if it like, I think it would be interesting to see Say and Mitch. I don't know. Because, yeah, would they, I mean, are they going to be on the same page, or is it just going to be like she sees them as a threat because she cannot influence them? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to see like how these tribe swaps. We get so few tribe swaps, and to get them mixed up with this group that is like such big personality so far, I think it's going to be a really fun next couple episodes.
Yeah, I would have loved a tribe swap if I had made
I get that.
One more.
Yeah. Aysha, I want to bring in some questions from the listeners for you about Survivor 48. We have a question from a recent guest on the podcast. Zach Wertenberger asked, if Justin had threatened to ban Cedric from Luigi's, would he still be in the game? If Justin said, Cedric, let me tell you this. You say my name, you'll never set foot in Luigi's in your life.
I think it would have worked. I think if he was feeling like, dang, this man is going to be so heartbroken that I am banned from his establishment and I can never try the side salad, I got to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah.
What's
Zach,
that salad?
you have a point.
Yeah.
He came off too nice. It was just like he gave him an out by saying that at all. I'm sure, because that's what he was. On one of his exit interviews was saying he definitely gave a bigger pitch than what we saw.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, if you said that at all, like, look, Cedric, you're good to come to my restaurant regardless. I don't know.
Yeah. And for Justin, like maybe he felt like, okay, I get Cedric. Like I feel like that he's going to respect the soft sell more than really being put on the spot. Like I think that this is going to be what ultimately works for him. But it's just like Say was never going to let go.
No. And he was probably thinking too, like, I don't want to be too pushy. I don't want to feel like I'm making him make a decision and then he's going to be turned off from me. Because he's already shown his hand twice and said, like, you've already chosen me over Say 2 times.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just like I don't know if it was the face to face that helped, the eyes, like Say put on some tears, like.
Just she said, Cedric, how could you? And this is something that we talked about in the trade. I don't want to spoil the traders too much, but I feel like that there was some some late votes on the traders where that a couple of players tried to use guilt as a weapon of like, well, I'm so hurt. How could you do this? How could you do this to me? Like I'm very hurt by this, and it didn't end up working on the traders. But for Say, she did know the combination to work with Cedric, and like Cedric, like, I'm so hurt. Right. Like this, you really cut me, Cedric.
Yeah, it's funny too because Cedric has obviously seen Say have different approaches, but that specifically worked for him because his heart is in it. And that's what I was wondering too. Were you questioning that? Like, did she immediately know that Cedric was the one that had his vote and voted for her? Because
it took her a minute to put it all together.
Like, it wasn't until he grabbed the urn that she was like, are you kidding? Are you joking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it just had to slowly set in.
Yeah. I will say, I thought that Justin did not have a great story that he sold to everybody about what he did on the journey.
Yeah, it was, comfort. Right.
Yeah, he was like,
comfort.
There was a bunch of dice with a white question mark and a bunch of dice with a red question mark. And one of them correlated to comfort, and the other one was like supplies. And I rolled it, and then we'll find out tomorrow. Which not a very low stakes game that Justin was playing on the journey.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. They're gonna be so pissed tomorrow when they wake up and they realize they got nothing.
They have to know now.
Justin should have been like, "Hey, all right, I sacrificed my vote for a feast that's only coming if I stay in the game. I had to get through tonight's tribal council without my vote. The feast is not happening tomorrow."
That is a perfect
Cedric,
sale.
Side salads galore for everyone.
I think if because now, like, no, okay, they know he has no vote, so tomorrow they shouldn't be expecting anything, right? But if he had sold it like that, that would have been enough. The amount of times I talked about Chipotle out there, if somebody would have told me, look, you would have
been like Karishma with Applebee's. Yeah.
Yes. I've been like, what do you want? I'll give you everything.
Yeah. Risk it all for Chipotle.
Right. We literally were taught, we were like, okay, you walk in. Yeah. We was like, you walk into Chipotle. What are you ordering?
That would be a good journey where it's like, okay, Like you get there and it's like, all right, your favorite food is right here underneath this. What do they call it? Like the cover? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We underneath here is your favorite. You've told us your favorite food. We've prepared it right here. Give up your vote tonight, or you could eat your favorite food. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, honestly.
It's like I think we're okay. I think I'm in the majority.
Yes.
Like nobody would even know if I would just say like, oh, I planned to play. They made me play a game and I lost my vote.
The amount of people that would take it, even that early on, is that like for sure. But I mean, props to Justin for even thinking of anything though, because I know that like even coming back from my journey or my battle from the camp supplies,
the fight for supplies they call it.
Fight for supplies. It was still being
FFS.
workshopped my season. So
yeah,
I
that's
called
what you
it
said, right? FFS.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even then, I was telling the honest truth, and still, because I left out details, people were like, I was lying.
What do you think about what Justin said to me in the exit interview? He said to me that, hey, Robin, if you look at it in the new era, when you lose your vote, you tend to go home that night. I didn't push back on it in my conversation with him, but I feel like I have looked at at least earlier in the new era. I haven't looked at the last couple of seasons, but do you feel like that's accurate, that if you lose your vote, you go home?
Well, you said like if you lose your vote, your friend goes home.
I've said that in the past. Yeah. But and I think that when I really looked at that, it was in Survivor 44. So I have to be honest in terms of like, I don't think I've really run the numbers, including Survivor 45, 46, and 47. But who lost their vote last season? Annika.
Annika lost her vote.
And that's true that she did end up going home.
She went home. Kyle lost his vote. He did not go home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but did he go to a tribal council did he have a pre-merge tribal council that he went to?
He didn't have a pre-merge tribal council. He didn't go to tribal again until it was the split tribal.
Yeah.
Or only half the people were safe.
And Annika, that she did not go home because she lost her vote. Like I think it was, and Andy and Sierra and Sam all voted against her. Exactly. Did anybody else lose their vote in 45? Teeny. Right?
I'm 47.
I'm sorry. I'm 47.
Teeny lost.
But still,
Teeny
Keyshawn
lost
went
their
home.
vote, but Keyshawn went home.
Yeah,
so that's the friend theory.
That's the friend. So I'm trying to think. In 46, Jelinski did lose his vote and did go home, but I feel like I feel like it wasn't because he lost his vote. Like they were mad, or they were mad that he like was helping the other tribe.
It was like that, and
it was a pile on. I don't think anything he did. I think he was going to go home.
Right.
Yeah. Did Ben lose his vote also?
Did he lose?
I feel like he went on a journey.
With who?
With Liz and Banu.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it does happen. It's not a death sentence to go and lose your vote.
It is what is seeming to be a death sentence is doing the fight for camp supplies.
Well, we haven't seen Kyle have to go to trial. He seems like the one person who has beaten it. I don't know if he would have gone to an earlier tribal council, but yeah, it does seem like, and I was talking about this last week when I was doing the podcast with Kevin about that 3 out of the 4 people, it has not gone well for them to, they go to an early tribal council and end up going out between you and then TK. And then, it wasn't Kevin that went out first.
Right.
But he goes out second.
Right. Like it still didn't help. And he won.
Yeah. Now, for Kevin, though, do we say that maybe that the data for Kevin is a little inconclusive? Because when we talked with Justin, he said that Kevin's shoulder was so bad that the reason why they turned on Kevin was that they kind of thought Kevin might have gotten medically evacuated.
Yeah, I mean, because even jumping in the water through his shoulder. So that's a fair point. So maybe it wasn't so much this season, but it sure didn't help us last season.
Yeah, it wasn't ideal. Yeah, I do think it is a little hard to take the players off the tribe when you're doing Sweat and Savvy, that I don't think anybody's like thinking so much that, and I'm sure it came up at some point in the new era where it's like, oh, Danny and Deshaun are, they must have gotten an idol.
Yeah.
I think that I feel like in my mind, I feel like that maybe Nasir actually did say that, but I don't think it came up so much, at least after maybe 41 and 42, where people who were doing those tasks, people did not think that they got an advantage.
Right. Like even, and I'm not necessarily, because I was thinking in terms of like TK.
Mm-hmm.
He won the camp supplies, but then went home for a different reason. So it wasn't like he missed those initial bonds. Like I feel like the people that he did not connect with, that would have been the case, whether he was there right away or not. So that's something I struggle myself with trying to think about. I'm like, if I had not gone, would it have been a different situation? But we'll never know.
We'll never know. Okay. All right. Question from Crystal, who wants to know, what tribe would Asia want to be on this season?
Ooh, that's a good question. Not Vula, that's for
Not
sure.
Vula. Yeah.
I think Siva.
Mm-hmm.
I think Loggy is tough because it seems like a season you have, or a tribe that you have to kind of bro down. And like I was good with Saul because he's like a teddy bear. He presents like this, like, obviously he's huge. Everybody saw him in the vest, right?
I saw him at one of the wrestling pay-per-views recently. I saw him at the Elimination Chamber.
Wait, you were there? Or you saw?
No, I saw it on I saw it on Reddit.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw that on his story. But I think the appeal with Saul was that he was just
I thought he was going to go after John Cena when he turned heel.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't watched WWE since I was like 8. So.
Yeah. Sorry for the spoilers. If you catch up.
So with Loggy, like I would want to be on Loggy purely because of Joe. Love Thomas. Shout out to the Woodlands, Texas. Actually, I lived there for that's like North Houston.
That's where Thomas grew up?
Yeah, that's where Thomas grew up. So we have that in common. I was there for like 7 years.
But Asia, what's with this? Not even any podcasters on this season.
I know. That was 47.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think of the vibe of 47, it's a mic.
That's true. Yeah. Who should podcast from season 48?
Oh, okay. I feel like Shaheen would feel like he has a lot to say.
Yeah, he'd be good.
Yes, I would like to hear from Shaheen. I'm trying to think from Steve. I think Camilla would be hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Camilla would be hilarious. I would love to hear Say just give her thoughts on anything happening in the world.
Say has just such a great name for a podcast. Like here's like I'm gonna go on Chad GPT right after this. It's like give me 100 names for Say's podcast. It's like what did she say?
What
say
did she
anything?
Say? Hear what she has to say.
Best name ever for a podcast.
Say what?
Say what? It's incredible.
Say my name. Say my name.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Say, please don't end me. My kids need to go to college. Okay. Please. I have to reverse neg her of Say's not gonna. She's not. But what do I have to say? I gotta say it so she doesn't do it. So yeah, it would be the most predictable thing ever if Say just started a podcast and ended me. That would be so predictable.
Say has a podcast. Chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like there are plenty of people that I love this cast. I just have to say, I think there are so many personalities. So there's plenty of people I would love to just listen to on a podcast.
Okay. All right. How about a question from, let me see. Let's take this question from Star Updates. Okay. Have you followed the Star Updates account?
Listen, I have this question screenshotted.
Okay. Star Updates does an incredible job, keeps us updated on everything Star. Asia, do you agree that Star Toomey is a better player than Sandra Diaz-Twine, Boston Rob, Tony Vlachos, and Parvati Shallow combined?
Listen, if you're not bringing the energy of Star Updates, keep it.
Do you feel like that? Are you disappointed that there was no Asia updates?
No. I'm glad because they would have been so sad after episode 3. And then they're like, what did I take this username for?
But they update on all sorts of different things, not just only game specific.
That's true. But if they were trying to stay updated on me and my life, they'd be like, dang, why she keep posting dogs? Like, what is she, like, where is she? At home with her dogs.
Yeah.
So I was okay.
Okay. What's the upside for Star as a player?
I think the upside right now is the low confessional count. We saw that from a lot of iconic players from
Oh,
even
so you're
my
going
season.
meta.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm reading into the edit. I'm thinking, like, you look at Genevieve. If you go back to my exit interview, the top comment is, "Who is Genevieve?"
Yeah, I was like,
no one's asking that now.
Genevieve. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she had a big breakout episode.
She did. Where is Star's breakout episode?
I
don't know. I think that when we get to the point where Star is finally at Tribal, people have already put themselves in a position to be voted out over her. I think she has missed the wave where she would have been voted out easily at this point. So I think that's her upside, is the fact that she is on such a strong tribe, including her. I mean, they missed out not having the basketball player in the basketball challenge, but
yeah. But I think that the Star's power is in that if she's the person who is feeling like, hey, I don't care about my original tribe, like they were trying to get rid of me. And then she's somebody that they could pick up. Like she could be like a very interesting piece on the board in post swap.
Yeah. I think Say would pick up Star easily.
Yeah. I think Star's issue might be like if she ends up getting swapped to a tribe that has like too many people from her old tribe.
True. A win for Star will be as few loggy as possible.
Like if she goes to a tribe with Eva and like or maybe Joe and Eva, and they're like, oh yeah, Star, she was always looking for the idol. She was a problem.
Right. Absolutely not. But if she ends up, let's say Siva remains the same and only one person leaves and Star comes in, she might be okay.
Yep. Okay. All right. Gordon Robbins wants to know, Vulu, most entertaining disaster tribe ever? Cedric voted for all his tribe mates in just 3 tribal councils. Impressive.
And all of his tribe mates in one tribal council.
Yeah. So he really did shoot the moon. He hit Stephanie, Kevin, then Mary. Justin, and Say. He voted for 3 people at the one tribal council. Yes. I don't know that's ever been done before.
The only other 3 people there, he voted for them. I'm shocked that he didn't decide
and had a chance at the very end, Aysha, to vote out himself.
It was up for grabs.
Cedric had a chance to do the funniest thing ever, and he said no.
Maybe. It took so long. This tribal lasted so long because he said, can I write down Jeff's name? Like, is that something I can do? Because that's wild. And the fact that he's done all of that and his name has never been written down.
Wow. King.
The power. A power player if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. He's incredible. So, all right, let's compare. We've got Vulu. It's not Vulu, right? Vula. And then we've got Lulu. And then we had Shannon Ricard's tribe. Uwa, I think, was their tribe.
Yes.
Okay. Any other true disaster tribes? I don't think so. I don't think anybody else was. And then there was like Tika, but they kind of had like redemption.
Right. Yeah. How do yeah. It's hard to kind of think like, oh, well, they got down to the Tika 3, but then and then Carson wasn't even there. Yeah.
But then Josh got swapped to them, and then and he got voted out of the merge. So I don't even consider them part of the disaster tribes.
So we got Ua, Lulu, and Vula.
Now, Ua got down to just 2.
True. Shannon
they went to 4 tribal councils.
That is a disaster. But you have, I think looking back, I think it really depends on where Mary, Cedric, and Say go from here. Because if they become these power players and they're the Vula 3 and they become final
I don't see
three.
it. I don't think it's going to happen.
No, but remember, Say promised that Mary and her are going to get
Look,
along.
I feel like if Say and Mary are going to maybe do something, I could see it. Jeff said, hey, I want to see you two like on a Thelma and Louise like road trip and go for it. I don't think Cedric's coming along for that ride.
No. I mean, talk about the conversations after the episode that if Mary,
Cedric's Angels.
if Mary and Say vote out Cedric at some point, how do you recover from that?
I mean, I totally could see it happening.
They're like, we got along just like you said.
Yeah.
You didn't say we had to get along with you. That
yeah,
wasn't
you
a
just said that we get along. You didn't say like keep you around.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just been happening. I mean, even thinking about this challenge, Vula didn't lose that bad. They were still in the slide puzzle.
Yeah, this is a blindfold challenge. Like that's kind of like equalizer. How would you have done a blindfold challenge?
How would I have done?
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't have wanted to be the caller.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think I would have done okay. I think spatial awareness is a good thing for me. I've tried walking around with the lights off.
Really? You practice a blindfold challenge?
It in a sense of just like, how can I not? It wasn't so much, you know what it was? It wasn't because of the challenge. It was because of camp life. Like I didn't want to be walking around at night and not bump into anything, hurt myself.
I hate the blindfold challenge. I do not care for it. I don't think it's super fun. I'm also very bad at it. I lost in a blindfold challenge in Survivor, the Amazon. I think I lost in 2 different blindfold challenges in Survivor, the Amazon. We had one for reward that I also lost. And ultimately, a blindfold challenge was the challenge my tribe lost as I sat out and then got voted out. So blindfold challenges, for me, not great. Also, me walking in the dark, very bad, Asia, that I have to, and I don't know how it is at your house, okay? But I have to be the person who gets up and turns off the light and then has to come back to the bed in the dark.
Yeah, so you're the shutdown person?
I have to be the shutdown person. My wife does not, she gets mad if I've turned off the lights and I'm the bed, and then she has to be the person fumble in the dark. And I always end up kicking something or something's on the ground. The other night I'm trying to get into the bed and the lights are off, and I ended up that for some reason my wife has this giant like photo mailing tube on the floor in the bedroom. Like, what the hell is it? And she's like, oh, that's my Sopranos poster. Like, why is it on the floor? Like, Kevin McAllister has set like booby traps all the way between, where I have to walk to get to the bathroom.
It was specifically put there for you to trip on.
Yeah. So, I don't love the blindfold challenges.
They're cursed.
I will sleep with a buff on.
You will sleep with a
blindfold. Yes. Yes. Although with this daylight savings time, like when is it even going to be light out? Like I'm sleeping past, like, what am I sleeping like 8:30 when the sun comes up? Like, what am I even doing?
Oh yeah. I was going to say, yeah, well, it's 7:30 here when the sun comes up, but then like also 7:30 when it's like the sun's still up right now.
Forget it.
But yes, I slept with my buff over my face and I could still see like the trees.
Yeah. Yeah, if you stretch it out, you definitely see through it. I have it like a band like over my eyes. Okay. All right. And then this is something else, like I'm getting into all my humble traits. I find that my wife does like, she'll like be like washing my buffs without even telling me.
Really? You don't want them clean?
You know what? Well, sometimes I go to these events and I get like a cool new one. And it's like, and then they're not the same after they go through the washing machine.
I wouldn't know because I haven't washed mine.
Yeah. Well, so, you don't have any other buffs from any other seasons?
No, so I hadn't bought any. And then when I decided I wanted to try to be on the show, I was like, I want my buff to be my first buff.
Yeah.
So
that's
I
cool.
just have 2 buffs, which is my original
You don't get any
buff.
other ones?
Well, I got my original buff and then the new buff.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe now future seasons I'll buy some.
Yeah, well, now I want to buy you one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What about
I just
RHAP
have
buff
Lavo.
for the patrons?
Okay. Wait, do you have RHAP buffs?
Yes, we do, Asia.
They're in the I know about this
No,
store.
but it's not for the store. It's not for
Okay.
we send them out to the $15 patrons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can't buy them in stores. I'll tell Derek to send you a buff.
Thank you. That'll be my third buff ever.
Yeah. And then if that one gets like you washed it a couple times and put it through the dryer, you won't care so much.
Right. Oh, let me give a shout out to Survivor Texas, because they did give me a buff when I went and visited them.
Ooh.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's black.
Okay.
It was their merge buff for their season they were shooting.
All right. That's a cool merge color buff.
Right?
Yep. Okay. How about, let's see. A question about Cedric. I thought we talked about that. Micah says, do you think that Say is playing similar to Tony? I get major Tony vibes in her chaotic but successful game. Love you, Asia. So I think that maybe this is Tony from Survivor Kagiyan more than Winners at War.
Yes, I do see that. I was going to say more OG Tony.
Yeah.
I think, though, the difference is that I felt like his connection to Sarah was more a partnership than like a leadership. Like, I don't feel like Cedric and Say are partners. I feel like
that one is Tony and one is Sarah.
Well, I feel like Sarah and Tony were partners.
Yes. Okay. So you don't feel like that.
Yeah. Because I feel like they had like an equal contribution to like what they were going to do. Whereas Say is the bigger voice in this.
Maybe Tony and Sarah are more like Say and Mary. Like, it's like they started off like they weren't on the same page and like, okay, you know what, you're so fun. I want to keep you around. And maybe they end up being sort of like, allies, but kind of frenemies, might screw each other over.
Yeah. Frenemies to friends. I mean, if maybe this is what we would have seen if like Rachel and Genevieve were on the same tribe starting out, or if me and Genevieve could get our ish together and like work together.
Yeah. You should have chased her.
I should have. I mean, speaking of, with Mitch and Kyle going out on that boat, Genevieve and I also went out on a boat.
Yes.
And it was exciting. We were talking about fishing. It happened to be like my dad's birthday, like the day before or something. So we were connecting in that. But then I was like, hey, Genevieve, where are you at in the game? She's like, it just sucks that our guys can't get along.
Yeah.
So I hit a wall.
Yeah. All right. Well, we passed the Bechdel test. Or no, actually we didn't, because we talked about the guys.
What's this test?
Oh, well, it's a test for movies. If the female characters talk about something that's not the guys.
Not guys. Yes.
Yeah.
Very true.
I didn't want it to be
wrong.
You gotta make it about her, not about the guys.
I know. I was like, forget these guys. I was like, you and I could have like something.
Yeah.
She was like, well, how?
You needed a Cedric to like, hey.
I know.
I just need you two to get along.
Yeah. One of our conversations, she was like, let's keep talking. I couldn't read her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She kept their cards close to the vest. That was before she even voted out Keshawn.
I know.
Before she turned into a different person.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when you said you went out fishing, how were you fishing? With a pole, or were you going to do spear fishing?
So we found a stick and we had won the smaller fishing kit.
Yeah.
So while someone else on the tribe was off, catching fish or whatever, this size.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even like fish. Let's get that out there. I don't need fish to be caught, so I don't even eat fish. Anyway.
You're like Cedric with the cheese at Luigi's Pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even eat that, Justin. I don't even need to come to Luigi's.
Right. We found a stick.
I could get a side salad anywhere.
Right. Everywhere has drinks.
Yeah.
I could we took a long stick and wrapped the fishing wire thing all around it, and then we put it in there. And then I lost one of the hooks. Yeah, we put it in the water. One of the hooks just went away.
Yeah,
but then
I don't know
we
if you
didn't
can even
anything.
catch fish on the hook on Survivor. I've never seen anybody do that.
The problem is the bait. We were using coconut as bait.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, and then we tried to use I don't know what else we tried to use, but it didn't work. Mm-hmm. We didn't catch anything. We put it in there deep. It was really cool because like the camera crew came out with us like all the way out in the water, and we didn't have anything substantial to say.
Yeah. I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen anybody like in the ocean on Survivor. Like I've seen it where, and in the Amazon there, we had like little tiny like river, like tributaries and stuff like that. And you could catch fish in the river, but never in the ocean. I don't feel like.
I mean, people take boats out.
Sure. But not on Survivor.
On Survivor. Okay. That's what I was simulating.
Like it's like, spearfish or, that's it on Survivor.
I feel like if we had been out there for a couple of hours, we could have got one bite.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not with the coconut. We should have found something else, like a snail or something.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So many questions about Cedric and what Cedric should have done.
He's the star of this episode.
Yeah. Lyle says, what were your thoughts on the journey? Were you happy that Cedric decided to do what he did, or should he have voted for Say again? Let's talk about the journey part of it.
I thought it was fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, it's just a game of chance. Simple as that. But I felt like please bring back risk the vote. Like, if you're going to have...
Oh, you like Shipwheel Island?
I do, because it gives the, like, cautious players a reason to say, like, look, I don't even want to participate. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be risky, you have the chance to do that. And then there's, like, a payoff or not. Like, you're taking the chance.
Yeah.
But the forced is just, because then it's like, oh, I lost my vote and I didn't even want to go.
Yeah. I think a lot of people want me to be more angry about stuff like this and get worked up. And I understand. And people, put their own projections on like how I should feel about things. And Stephen Fishback has called me a nihilist at times, but part of me is a little bit like, hey, like, sometimes in life, like, you go out in the street and you get hit by a car, what are you going to do? Like, sometimes like bad luck finds you, and that's it. Those are the breaks. And, I do like the players having agency of whether or not they want to go on the journey, like get on that boat like we saw. But this has been part of the show where you pick a person to end up going out there and, hey, like the fickle finger of fate has found you and like thrown you into this. And now you have to roll the dice, and hey, that's life, baby. Like you end up like in these situations where it's like through nothing you did, now you're in a bad situation. Like, can you figure that out? Like, yes, you did not opt into this specific mission, but you opted into this specific show where sometimes bad luck finds you.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. I mean, do you think it made it look better that at least one person got the advantage?
I think people would have said, yeah, these dice were rigged. Like the dice were weighted if, Camilla didn't get a chance to do it. I mean, I think I certainly would prefer a game that was like a little bit more, there was like some strategy to the game of like, I can, like I could stop here at a certain point and get something, or, that other than just like, pour the dice out and now that's it. I lost.
Right.
You might as well just like flip a coin like Beast Games.
Look, how about you have to do something to a point and you get to keep your vote. If you go further, you may get an extra vote. You go even further, you may get something else. Knowledge is power. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe there's a point where you like you can just get back to zero and stop.
Right.
Make it easier to, and then, maybe you could totally crap out, but it's like there's like a achievable goal.
Yes.
If you have 2 flames, you could stop playing. Maybe that's a little bit more fair, but ultimately, like, for us at home, were we not entertained by the end of the show?
We were very entertained. It was, I mean, and even this during, I mean,
this is when Steven calls me a nihilist of like, you know, you don't care about like the fairness of anything.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
and
like
I do,
fair.
but ultimately, like, I just feel like, hey, these things happen on this show.
Very true.
I just don't get like worked up about it.
Unfair things have happened.
I mean, where's the lie?
Yeah.
Jerry Manthey said it in season 2. Like, whoever said this game is fair.
Very true.
You know, you get some good breaks and you get some very bad breaks. And sometimes the bad breaks are insurmountable.
Right. I don't know. But if you go out there and you take, well, yeah, I guess it's like, yeah, there's just no way to play a completely safe game because you could get thrown into whatever.
Yeah.
Which is just the nature of the game.
I mean, could Justin say like, hey, actually, like, I really don't want to, like, hey, like, could he say beforehand, like, hey, everybody, I do not want to go on the journey. Like, please do not, please, like, I don't know. Would that have saved him?
Maybe. And what can his tribe say against that? They're like,
I mean, but could he say before they even pick, like, hey, just so you know, I do not want to go on the journey.
Right. Would his tribe be mad? Or they'd be like, oh, thanks for giving me a chance to go.
Would they be mad? And also, like, would the other tribes still pick him? Like, that'd be very rude.
Yeah.
Like, hey, not me. Right. Do not pick me for this.
And maybe people should do that. We weren't even thinking you, but now we are.
Yeah. Speaking of Beast Games, I saw Tony when I went to the Survivor premiere for season 48. And I reconnected with him a little bit. And, you know, he doesn't really keep up with the show or anything like that. But, you know, we had a nice conversation and I told him, you know, Tony, I'm just like, I don't know when I'm going to see you again. I'm just so happy to see you. And then he had been texting me and he was very animated about something recently. He was very animated about the finale of Beast Games. And he was like, did you watch it? Did you watch it? Oh, I had to like, I skipped to the end just so I could like hear Tony's theory. Tony has a very interesting theory about the finale. I don't know where to post it. Like, I don't want to spoil people on Beast Games.
That's all on YouTube, right?
It's all on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Beast proper is all on YouTube.
Got it. Sifu's on there, right?
I'm sorry?
On Beast Games?
Sifu did appear briefly.
Oh. Got it.
Yeah. Aysha, anything else on your mind from Survivor 48?
You know, it's been fun. Like, I was really nervous coming into this season. Just like, can I watch it as a fan again? Is that possible?
How are you doing with that?
I am. I'm how am I doing? I am. I'm doing well with it. I think that it is nice to be able to watch and not think like, oh, what if? Because it's completely separated from my experience. Because I remember coming back and immediately finishing 46. Awful idea. I just like it. I immediately felt the deprivation that I had felt in the game. And I was like, whoa, too soon. But watching 48 has been so fun. And I'm just like thoroughly enjoying it just because like the cast is amazing. Everything is so different in terms of, you know, obviously the structure is the same, but the challenges are different than what was on our season. The gameplay is even slightly different. So it's been, I've been really enjoying it. So I'm actually very happy that I can watch it as a fan.
Aysha, when they did the vote for Survivor 50, did you vote that the players should get rice or not?
So
it's okay if you didn't vote.
I did vote. I voted not to get rice because I feel like
if I didn't get rice, I don't want these other people to get rice.
Exactly. No, it's not even that. I just see the effect of no rice. It really
and you want that for other people, Aysha?
Yes, it really
like
impacts
I had to do it. Now you know how these old you know, you become what you hate of these old school Survivor players. Like, well, I had to do 39 days.
You know, I didn't know that was such a hot take. Okay, so everybody's pro rice.
I think so. I think people are like, what are these people you need to starve everybody for? It's fine.
I mean,
nobody was like watching, you know, Survivor, like, fill in random Survivor China. I'm like, these people are getting too much food. Enough. How much are you feeding these people?
Look, it's 26 days.
Mm-hmm.
You may not even last the full 26 days. And I feel like the impact that no rice has, it just really, it gets you.
Yeah.
And so I think you get a different type of, like, somebody can be completely different if they're getting rice versus not.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
that's my case. I'm not a Wharton Burger brother, so I can't debate
You can't
on
debate it with them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on your mind, Asia? What's going on in anything in real life? Anything on the Perfect Match podcast that's exciting?
Real life is happening. I've been doing 75 hard.
Okay? 75 hard. What is that?
Yeah. So it's 75 days of 2 workouts a day.
P90X?
No. 75 days of 2 workouts a day, each 45 minutes. One has to be outside.
Okay. And it's called 75 hard?
Yeah. It's really popular out here in these like fitness streets.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm in the fitness streets.
All right.
So 2 workouts, one has to be outdoors. You stick to a diet. So I'm just doing no fast food, no desserts. You have to drink a gallon of water a day.
Does she want to do 75 hard?
Some people modify and do like 75 medium, 75 soft.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to commit. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to read 10 pages of nonfiction a day. And
what the hell is this? Pick a lane workout? I have to read 10 minutes of a story or 10 pages of a story? Well, I'm going to the bathroom all day from a gallon of water?
Absolutely. All day and all night.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're anything like me, you get to the end of the day and then you're like, oh, shoot, I'm at just 100 ounces. Then I'm chugging 28 ounces.
And then the lights are off and then I'm going to break my ankle trying to get back into the bed.
I trip over Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, I mean, I think the worst night for me, I got up like 3 times. But I'm on day 67.
Yeah, but you can go back to sleep like that because you trained for Survivor.
Exactly. I literally less than a minute.
You don't even care.
Less than a minute, I'm back to like REM. Whatever scientists out there are probably saying that's impossible, but I'm back in deep sleep.
Yeah.
But
I'm
on day
be like a personal trainer for sleepers.
Right. I'm on day 67. So I'm almost done. I literally have 8 days left. I am in the home stretch. I can't wait to like eat a donut. But yeah, it's really challenged me. So it's been nice. I've enjoyed that challenge. And then actually
What day are you on?
67.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're in a home stretch.
That's like 3 Survivor seasons.
Right. March 22nd is my last day.
Okay.
But I am doing exciting thing I'm looking forward to is I'm doing High Rocks this Sunday. And it's a fitness race. Taylor Hale from Big Brother, she's done it a couple times and posted about it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
where is it? It's local?
In Houston. Yeah. So they travel, but this one is in Houston. So I'm doing it. And it's you run a kilometer, then you do like a sled push. You run a kilometer sled pull, and you do like 8 workouts and you run a kilometer in between each.
Wow.
So I'm just trying to push myself to the max. So I'm like,
you're pushed.
See what this body can do, you know?
Okay. Well, Aysha, this was so fun to get to catch up and talk about Survivor 48 a little bit. Was there anything else from your notes that you didn't get to talk about?
Oh, just like if that's true about David's girlfriend, shame on her.
Look, I don't want to like judge anybody's relationship, but I think David was smart to call it out.
She said if he doesn't become a millionaire, she's out.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, such a solid episode.
She might be bluffing.
True.
She might be like, hey, like Derek X's parents were like, hey, don't come home if you don't win. But they let him still come home.
Yeah, they didn't disown him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very true. But yeah, and I really liked Mary's bluff. I mean, whether it was effective or not, it played the role it needed to play. It did its job, which was like gave me shades of watching Rachel's bluff. So
yeah, props. Look, and she put it into the universe. I am safe. I'm not
Mhm.
going anywhere. And look how it turned out.
Literally. Oh,
Mhm.
when next time I see Mary, I'm just going. I need to rub her arm or something and get some of that luck
Yeah.
with
Look,
consent.
look, one person on the tribe had all the luck, and one person on the tribe did not.
But he has all the pizza.
It's all the pizza. So, okay, I guess, there's luck in that. All right.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about what else is going on here on RHAP. All the podcast feeds are working again, and that means you could listen to everything Survivor at WeKnowSurvivor.com, where you can now chat with Aysha Welch and over 20 survivors on the Survivor group chat going on over on chat. That's chat, not Chad, BCC. Chat, BCC. Come on and chat with us during the episode. There's a bunch of live chatters all week long. Go to robinswebsite.com/VIP chat for the link there, robinswebsite.com/VIP chat. Of course, you can get a buff and be part of the Survivor community when you are part of the tribe at robinswebsite.com/patron. I'll be live again on Friday to take Q&A. Owen filled in for me last week, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it with everybody. Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern for patron questions. I'm sure that there will be more than a few questions about this tribal council, Aysha.
Absolutely.
People
You might
want
have
to
to
talk about it.
put a timer because it could go for 6 hours.
Could be the longest call ever after the longest tribal council. And then over on the patron feed, Josh and I are still talking about Survivor Heroes versus Villains 15 years later. And we talked about episode 5, where somehow, even though James got injured, they still decided to keep him and vote out Tom Westman 15 years ago this week. Josh and I talked about it over on Patreon, robinswebsite.com/patron, where you could also watch us talk about Dondi. Did you keep up with Dondi?
You know, it is a show I have always wanted to watch. It just happened to premiere in the thick of things, and I just have not been able to watch it.
Okay, check it out when you catch up. WeKnowDondi.com. 2 episodes left on Deal or No Deal Island. Aysha, Married at First Sight, season 18 reunion.
I know. Who would have thought we would be talking about Married at First Sight on a Survivor recap? It's wild how the world works. But yes, Married at First Sight, season 18 reunion, part 1 came out this week.
Who's this woman? Is she she just got married?
This is Madison. Madison is now with one of the other husbands. So
one of the other husbands?
Yeah, there was an affair this season, and they hit it off at the honeymoon apparently, and had a secret affair until it was exposed because
damn.
It was the husband sent a risky text to his wife, but it was meant for Madison. So much drama.
They could have given him the double guilt trip.
Exactly.
The Swaffy.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your real number one, Madison?
Yeah,
we were on partnerfinder.com.
Right. They took a different approach, and now those two women are not friends. But we had a great, Jason Reed and I cover this over on A Perfect Match on the Love at First Sight feed. And we had a great time covering this season. We still have 2 more episodes, Reunion Part 2 and the Where Are They Now episode. It was so exciting this season that we even went live for 1 episode, which is when everybody found out that Madison and one of the husbands had been having a thing. That was a wild episode. We had a great time with the chat. So yes, you can find us on the Love at First Sight feed. You can also find us at firstsightpod.com.
What a choice to cheat on your spouse on television.
Honestly, it was just like, we could love your relationship if y'all went about it the right way.
Very bold to do it in private, but to do it on television, I respect it.
Even bolder to the lies
make big
were
moves.
Insane.
Yeah.
The text he sent his wife was,
dance like nobody's watching.
He said, "You look so good. I want to eat you up." And she said, that was a weird text for me. We're not even there. He said, "Oh, that was for my cousin. It was for some food I was eating." Yeah. He said, "She sent me a picture of some food. That was for her." And so and it was just an awful lie. It was actually meant for Madison because he was hanging out with her at the time.
Yeah. Okay. Married at First Sight in the Perfect Match feed, where you also get to hear about Love is Blind.
Yes, Love is Blind. Arguably one of the most boring starts of a season.
A lot of people.
It picked up. I will say the finale and the reunion were probably the best drops of the season.
Okay.
So Mary Kukowski and Jason Reed and I talked about the finale and the reunion. It was, I mean, solid ending to a subpar season. So
Yep.
definitely go check it out. We had a fun time covering it.
Okay, and then you can hear Josh Wigler and I talk about The White Lotus as we will bring you another recap on Sunday night of the next episode. Part of our scripted TV. What? RJP has scripted TV podcasting? Yes. It's called WeKnowScriptedTV.com. You could hear what Josh Wigler and the crew is talking about Severance and all the great scripted TV podcasting going on over on WeKnowScriptedTV.com. Okay. Asia, where can people keep up with you?
Yeah, so you can follow me at Aysha like Asia. It's AYSHA like ASIA. I have to spell it because people spell it wrong sometimes.
I've heard. Yes.
Yeah. I am most active on Instagram, but you can also catch me on Blue Sky, on Twitter, TikTok. But yeah, give me a follow. I post mostly my dogs, but sometimes some life content.
Okay. All right. Asia, thank you for coming here. This was so much fun to get into everything here with you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And everybody, we've got so much more to come still this week. Abby Maria, Asia's new friend, is going to be on the podcast. I'm going to talk to her on Tuesday afternoon. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of people were like, hey, weren't you supposed to talk to Sophie last week? Sophie got sick. We're going to reschedule with Sophie. I think in 2 weeks, we will catch up with Sophie on our old school interview. Plus, Club Condo as well coming up on Monday with Chappelle. So don't miss any of that when you're subscribed to the podcast. We love to read what you have to say in the comments. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.